Hello and welcome to Deep Dives with New Perspectives. I'm Michael Bartlett.
I'm Merrylin LeBlanc.
How are you doing, Merrylin?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, things are moving along, and of course, it's September. We just had Labor Day, and there's something. Having been a teacher a good many years of my life, there's something about September that always feels like a beginning to me in some ways. It's one of the quarter shifts. I mean, I'm thinking of fall. We have the fall equinox towards the end of the month. It's a quarter shift in the year that has always had a lot of new energy, and that has to do with, it's time to go back to school at one point. But on another point, which I learned after establishing that habit in my early adult years, there are some of us that resonate to the season of fall. There's systems that talk about, you're a spring person, it has to do with your coloring and whatnot. Well, I'm a fall person, and it's the last quarter of the year, and I'm as you are, a last quarter moon.
You can't make this stuff up. It's so funny.
No, you can't. And I'm a Libra rising, and so it's always kind of like an energy that feels like a new beginning to me.
It's funny, when I did my forecast for April, I love you being in a giggly mood. I did my forecast for September, and I never thought about before, but I found myself starting to talk about, it's reverse spring, right? And it's funny because I've been feeling this way, and I know you've recently gone through it, and a few other friends doing like cleaning things out. It's like, it's clearing out the space. I mean, it's the harvest, of course, as we talked about last week, but there's also this element of like clearing things up so that there's space for, putting things away for the winter and making sure that we have enough to survive the winter. And
even in the fall, I mean, after you've picked the crops, you clear the fields.
Exactly.
You don't leave all the dead stuff there to kind of, if you're going to use this again, you clear
or you turn it under to get the nitrogen and the other,
right.
the breaking down of those materials. Not as many people are doing that anymore. They're typically now just clear cleaning it, and just throwing more chemicals on the earth. But yeah, the traditional way is you kind of like till that under and add the manure and stuff from your animals, and it's a fallow time, right? It's that time where we don't, unless you're doing winter crops, and in that case, actually, if you're doing a winter crop like winter wheat or something like that, you'd be getting ready to be planting right now. Or I think you'd be planting right now, because it's a fairly fast crop. But it's for the rotation and feeding the earth in a certain way, making sure that all the different nutrients are coming back in. But which is, it's that Virgo part, Virgo into Libra. And then when I think about that cycle is, that I think of Virgo, in addition to being the virgin and being the harvest, I think of it as animal husbandry and right relationship with our environment, meaning the earth and our material possessions and our things, making sure there's a certain order and maintenance. And it's when we start to developmentally begin to understand that there's maybe cycles about how to do things, and that we have to start involving other people. Then we're moving into that Libra part. We're like, oh, there's you. I didn't realize you were out there.
Yeah, using the whole agrarian age kind of metaphor. It's we can relax from working outdoors, and we can get involved in relationships. And what's interesting, what's happening tomorrow that's related to this is the moon and Mercury are coming together in the sign of Libra. The moon having a lot to do with planting and the cycles of vegetation on the earth, as well as the cycles of water, for that matter, on the earth, and Mercury having a lot to do with tilling the earth and harvest and well planting and
Germinating.
harvesting and germinating, all of that energy. But now the energy is shifting, just as we were talking about. It's shifting to, oh, maybe we have a little time now for relationships. And so let's start a new cycle with Moon Mercury in Libra. You wanted to say something about this.
I do, because it's funny. Like I love how you say it, because the thing that most of us modern and traditional astrologers forget about Libra is it's the only non-organic sign. It's not a plant. It's not an animal. And I love how you said that it's about taking the time, that it creates time. And in esoteric astrology, we call it the pause, the Pause. So it really is that, and it's the breath. Gemini, the joke is, when two Geminis are speaking, which one's the listener? And the joke is the one who takes a breath first.
So I'm just gotta go back to the being a Libra rising. You said non-organic, and are you thinking of Libra as only the scales and not Lady Justice holding the scales?
I see Libra more, to be honest, actually as the scales themselves, yes, and not the feminine aspect with it, because there's an inherent, and I could be wrong, please correct me, because you have your
I don't
rising,
think
so you've been living it. But my energetic sense is more of this sense that it's being that absolute, it's trying to get to that point of neutrality. It's almost like working with a pendulum. When you realize that when you work with a pendulum, that you can influence it, it's about pulling your energy away from it. And I think Libra's goal, like I was saying about with the Gemini part, Gemini just wants to, hear itself talk, but Libra really wants to hear from the other side. And then it has to decide, okay, where's my truth in it? Where's my sense in it? Where's the balance in it without the sense attached to it? Because it's getting ready for that next step, which is that Aquarian ability to be really completely detached from it. That's my energetic sense.
I agree with everything you've just said, except that I would include Lady Justice
Good. Okay.
from the perspective of even though Libra is a masculine sign, and what you said actually sort of fits that energy. It operates in a masculine mode.
But as Venus, right?
But I like to think about the feminine imagery connected to it, in that the feminine accommodates everything. That's for us to be in a feminine mode. We're open to finding a way to accommodate everything and everyone. And I think that Libra does that. I remember a situation in which I was asked to head up a certain group, and it was an astrology group, actually. And so I don't know, some time had passed, and one of the people in the group said, "It is so nice to have that Libra energy leading the group, because there's that ability," and this is my Libra rising, that's an ability to be inclusive. And I don't see, well, you could look at the scales and say, yeah, we want to have both sides have equal time. So the balancing act of the scales would bring in that inclusivity factor.
As you speak about it, I see Lady Justice as Venus personified, to be honest. Or, that it's like the sense of, okay, we have the yin and the yang, or anything that's a polarity, but then there's that which contains the whole thing. And I think that's what I like about it. In that same sense that, oh yeah, there's the masculine, but the truth is the masculine is impossible to be without the woman. Except when you go into Greek myth and you have Zeus, who, out of his head came Aphrodite, and, those sorts of things, but that's just, I think Freud had it all wrong. I don't think it's penis envy. I think it's womb envy, to be honest. I mean, I think
Okay.
at such a fundamental level, and men seek to create and to manifest on the physical plane that which the feminine is able to offer as a natural byproduct of its being. So it's like, it's these it's that, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I'm stepping in a different, we don't need to step into that realm. So
Well, but still, I actually want to say something about Libra as a masculine sign. And that is that it takes action to bring this balance, to bring this justice, to bring this harmony.
Cardinal.
It activates that. It's not like receptive in that regard. It's an energy that goes out and does that. And it's funny because now it's making me think of our well, I don't know, our justices and their latest thing on, I don't know if I even want to go there. That is just so upsetting, except we haven't heard the end of it yet. But
it's downright frightening and judging by, I don't know about you, I've been watching a couple of different astrologers YouTube videos and their talks and different things, and you get this full gamut about this month. I mean, I kind of see there's some really wonderful opportunities and pauses and times to really be taking care of things, but some people are saying, with some of these outer asteroids and the aspects they're making, that some real manure is about to hit the fan. I guess there's a group, there's some sort of a big protest, peaceful, I guess is where I should put the quotes, not in protest, of Trump's followers coming up here on the 16th. And it's interesting because I know between now and 2023 we're up for something, but how does this, how can we get that the Mercury Moon in Libra for us to start talking? I mean, I think that's the wonderful, it's the parlance, right? It's that ability to how do we share each other's views in a way that's okay?
Well, what's wonderful about this conjunction in Libra is the degree that it happens at, which let's see, it's 13 degrees of Libra. And the symbol in that degree is children blowing soap bubbles. And I got just to kind of place this within astrology a little bit, it from Libra, it's in the 13th degree, it's in the second decan, which in the traditional system is an Aquarian segment. So it's bringing people together. But it's at the Dwad, which is like every 2.5 degrees. It's at the beginning of the Piscean Dwad. Those are the soap bubbles, the water energy of Pisces, as well as the imaginary, the visionary, let's come together and share our visions. And
play. There's a playfulness in it too.
Yeah, creative energy, playful energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so, I think you did share the email about some people coming together in a way that's sort of like recreating January 6th. And I'm going like, okay, well, let's the rest of us come together, and maybe we even just come together in our minds. We don't necessarily, there have been, like, over the decades of my life, there have been group meditation times where people share, they're not even on Zoom or anything. They're just in a space, and so tomorrow, let's envision, or even this whole week, let's envision people dreaming of, in bubble form, of an ideal world that they want. Pisces is inclusive of everything and everyone and all our distinctions and differences and our spiritual views as well, but also the way we see the world and the way we'd like to see the world. I'm thinking of filmmakers who do that all the time in many of them, not all of them, in magnificent ways. But this energy is really a time for each of us. And hopefully to be able to share that doesn't mean we have to share it with the world necessarily, even just sharing it with one other person, or several friends, what's your vision of the world for now? What would you like to see happen in the world for now?
And I don't know about you. I mean, I spend a fair amount of time in the evenings watching, Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple movies and different things like that. And I've been really enjoying and watching a lot of these different documentaries. And there's a lot of various awarenesses. I don't really know any other way to say it, but it's like the ways we're becoming aware of sexism in such a pervasive way, the ways we're becoming aware of the level of sexual misconduct in the workplace that has been so pervasive in some of the industries, the ways in which racial things really are not okay, like bringing in Black Lives Matter, there's all these little things that are, where we've kind of just been, I just keep thinking back to the 1950s where everything was just literally black and white. Everything was just like, if it was ugly in a way, then white people just kind of whitewashed it. Oh, we just won't talk about it. It wasn't that those things didn't happen. We just didn't, it wasn't in the communication. And so now it's like, there's such a variety of experience and individual expression that's going on. And each of us that want to speak what our truth is. And I think, the game is like, how do we do that? Like in debate, I think of back in high school, a debate class where it'd be like, you each had your little timed amounts. Okay, I'm going to get on my podium and speak for a little bit. And like I've said a few times with individuals, because it's in a way, this is kind of tying into Mercury getting ready to go retrograde at the end of the month. It's fitting into all the air sign energy that's gone on this year with Mercury as its 3 retrogrades in each of the air signs, and the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius back in December. And I think it's just helping us to reset, reconsider, reconnect, reformulate, which I think also helps with that Uranus and Taurus coming in, the ways in which we hold our values, the ways in which we value one another, the ways in which we have devalued one another.
Yeah. I might add one other thing too about the Mercury moon. Both of those bodies, both of those planets speak volumes about our consciousness, and they're coming together on this degree is really saying to us, we need to take in a collective consciousness. And what would we want to represent as that collective consciousness? That's how one of the things, because it brings the collective to the personal.
Well, it's funny, like the first thing I think of is how many people are actually changing their ideas around work, right? A lot of people are going like, I don't want to, as far as value, this is a real huge value, is our relationship to work. I mean, that's really actually totally in Libra territory. So do I really want to be working in a 9 to 5? Do I want to be commuting each day? Do I want to be in a place that actually feels like my life force is being drained out of me? Or do I want to maybe just start having a very different relationship with life, simplify my life in such a way that my expenses are lower and I don't have to really work so hard at a job that isn't feeding me in a way, and then we each get to be able to create. Oh, that's what I was going to say earlier, is I've been encouraging a lot of individuals to like get their YouTube channels going or build their social media. I mean, there's so many ways for us all to start our self-expression. So, and that's a wonderful way for doing it, and not having to worry about what people say or think. Speaking of which, I'm sorry, I'm just going to do a little plug for a second. If you're liking what we're saying, please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share with your friends. We really appreciate our audience. We appreciate those of you who are following us. And also, if you're interested in different topics, please share what those topics are. And if there's certain things that you're enjoying in the ways we're engaging, please let us know. It's kind of like it's been a little quiet in the comment section, so we really welcome to hear from you. So thanks for taking your time and listening to us. Go ahead, Merrylin.
Oh yeah. Join our bubble. Invite other people to join our bubble, and make your own bubbles around it, especially by making comments or adding questions, because that stimulates our minds as well to think a little differently than we might be inclined to.
Guys with new perspectives, help us see a new perspective.
Oh, that's wonderful, Michael. That's wonderful. Yeah. All right. Well, that's about it for today. And Michael, how can people reach you?
People can find me on my website, coremichael.com. I actually have a talk coming up at Kepler College, a free webinar. Please visit Kepler College or my website, Coremichael, Michael.com for more information. Thank you so much. How can people reach you, Merrylin?
Well, you can go to my website, moonwiseastrology.com, and you will find contact information there.
Great.
So let's enjoy the end of summer and have wonderful times together, sharing our visions of a new world, an ideal world, blowing
Blowing our little bubbles. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.